Let me see. Other questions here. Somebody said, let me start with your first question. I'm busy with the Security Plus and the CCNA. Oh, CCNA, that's a good certification. I have, can I branch into GRC with only that and a law degree? We did cyber law and information systems in my undergrad, and I have no technical work experience. So what I would do right now, if I were you, is I would get experience, right, especially if you're still in school. But regardless of whether they're in school or not, what you need to do right now, this moment, is to do a lab, get some hands-on technical experience. But to answer your question, yes, with your background in law, if you've done any kind of, if you've practiced this, if you were a paralegal or something and you were doing cases that involved cybersecurity law, that right there counts as experience. Because GRC, how can I explain this? So the govern part of GRC, the govern and the compliance part of GRC is heavily involved with the law. And what I mean by that is like, I give you an example of what I've been doing for all these years. So when I worked for the Department of Defense, um, the laws that we had to abide by is called FISMA. So FISMA is a law from the federal government that states that any kind of federal information, any kind of federal systems, uh, have to meet certain criteria. It has to be assessed annually. It has to have a set of security controls that are monitored and implemented throughout the organization. And people have to have training. This is a law. This is an act that was passed by the federal government. It's called the Federal Information Systems Modernization Act of 2014. That law is translated via NIST 853 and NIST 837. So if I were you, I'd get smart on things like that. Now, each industry has their own set of compliance laws and regulations. So, for example, the retail sector and the finance sector use something called PCI DSS, and that's compliance with credit cards, making sure that if you have a credit card device, there's certain security features that are in your network to protect the customer's information, their credit card information, the financial transactions. So what you need to do is connect the laws, the cyber laws of whatever country you're in or whatever industry you're in, with the actual practices of the organization. And that's the kind of stuff that you want to put in your resume. Like, you want to put that connection in your resume. I can tell you right now, organizations are looking for people who practice law, who know cybersecurity. It's really, really important. So that's where I would start. If I were you, I'd go to LinkedIn and I'd look for other people's resume. Let me show you what I would do if I were you. So I would go, let me just quickly, I know there's other people asking me questions. There's my free book, by the way, if you happen to be watching this at this time. This book is free right now. I'm going to answer more questions in a second, but let me just show what I would do if I was a law student getting into this. Let me see if I can get into LinkedIn. This is my actual LinkedIn page, by the way. What I would do if I were you is I would go to the search and I would type in law cyber. I don't know what the cyber law, cyber law. All right. So look at this. It's already coming up with jobs. Look at this. This is what they're looking for right now. Cyber risk and compliance legal associates, cyber compliance consultation, forensics. Anyway, so from here, what you want to do is look at other people who are in cyber law and see what they put on their resume, and you'll get a good idea of what you should have on your resume. You'll see forensics, you'll see law enforcement. You do need, like, what's going to really sharpen your tool set is having the background and getting hands on with security is going to help you out. as much as possible. If you can get yourself into some kind of practice where they're actually doing this, or where they're allowing you, where they're mentoring you to get in this, because with your background in law, it's going to help you out quite a bit. Let me look at this person's resume. Cyber law and cyber forensics. Take a look at their resume. Like, what do they have? Where did they work before? They're in India, cybersecurity intern. This will give you a good idea of what you need to have on your resume, how technical you need to be. Look, PCI DSS. The reason why these people are important is because there's a reason why they're coming up as number one. Their resume is really good. Their profile is really good. So this person is spelling out the actual regulations and laws that they've been using. This is the kind of stuff that you want to have on your resume. So I hope that makes sense.